Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. A Pakistani court imposed a lifetime ban on the former military ruler Pervez Musharraf today, preventing him from contesting elections.
The News First International desk has been following the political turmoil in Pakistan and will have a comprehensive report later on in the news. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. Amnesty International says the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting should not be held in Sri Lanka unless human rights issues are addressed. Tense situation in the Colombo Municipal Council over electricity tariffs. MPs question as to why inefficient ministers and officials are being retained.
And now for the stories in detail. The Department of Meteorology says that the prevalent warm weather will prevail until mid-May. The department said that the warm weather arises due to effect caused by the sun on the weak wind patterns. The Department of Meteorology added that each year from March to May, warm weather prevails in and around the island.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa paid his last respects to late former Minister Jayathilaka Podinilame yesterday. The President visited the residence of the late former Minister in Siyamalapitiya in Kegol last afternoon to pay his last respects. The President conveyed his condolences to the widow of the late Minister Kamala Jayathilaka and the family. The former Chief Minister of Sabaragamuwa Province passed away on the 19th of April. Jayathilaka Podinilame was 66 years at the time of his death. He entered active politics under the UNP ticket, contesting the Galigamuwa electorate in Kegol.
What you witnessed was a tense situation that arose at the Colombo Municipal Council today regarding the increased electricity tariffs. The revised electricity tariffs is a topic that is spoken of in society these days. News First was in the forefront to keep our viewers informed on the demonstrations, discussions as well as seminars that took place in this regard. Now, during the last week, we brought you an in-depth analysis on how the electricity tariff will affect you, your household and industrial establishments.
Members of the governing party at the Colombo Municipal Council arrived at the council with candles and placards. They also engaged in a demonstration at the council. Power plants were built spending millions of rupees. They obtained commissions in order to salvage themselves from the loans that were obtained. They had increased the electricity tariffs. In truth, electricity can be provided free of charge in a country like Sri Lanka. There are reservoirs everywhere. There are proposed electricity schemes as well, so it can be provided free of charge. We are disappointed that the electricity tariffs have been increased in an unjust manner. A tense situation arose when councillors entered the chambers. The governing party of the Colombo Municipal Council brought forth a bill that would make the increased electricity tariffs not come into effect in areas that come under the purview of the Colombo Municipal Council. The United People's Freedom Alliance-led opposition opposed this move, and a tense situation arose in the chambers subsequently.
මේක බොහොම පැහැදිලිව කොළඹ මානක සභා ආඥා බලන්ත කියලා තියෙනවා මානක සභා පරිපාලන.
The Municipal Council Ordinance clearly states that matters relevant to the governance of the Municipal Council should be taken up for discussion. In this backdrop, they have brought a proposal like this to sling mud at the UPFA government. As the opposition, we expressed our opposition to it.
ඉතින් අපි ඒ විපක්ෂයක් ඇටියට අද අපේ දැඩි විරුද්ධත්වය ප්‍රකාශ කරා.
Councillor of the Madhyama Nuwaragampalada Pradesha Sabha Anura Bandara arrived at the Pradesha Sabha today. in a traditional farming attire as a mark of protest over the increased electricity tariffs. The councillor made his way to the Pradesh Sabha on foot from the village Mahingamo junction and was accompanied by the opposition leader of the Pradesh Sabha, who carried a torch. However, the governing party members of the Pradesh Sabha did not allow the Pradesh Sabha member to attend the monthly sessions.
Let's take a look at some of the views expressed regarding the electricity tariff hike in the political arena.
මේ රටේ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ බඩින් භාගයක් කාලා. මේ
90% of the country lives on half-full stomachs. The electricity tariffs have been doubled to aggravate this economic backdrop. Today, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has incurred losses close to 90 billion rupees, and it is the CEB, Yalanka and Mihin Lanka that are responsible for this. So if the government says that the tariffs were increased for development, then we ask them, for whose want are they maintaining these loss-making institutions?
රජය හැටියට පිළිගන්නවද විදුලි බිල වැඩි කියලා මේ ඉහළ දැමීම වැඩි කියලා මොකද හැමතැනම විරෝධතා තියෙනවා.
No, not as the government, but we all accept that there has been an increase in the electricity tariffs. No, in truth, the electricity tariff has not been increased as yet. There is a proposal. It is a proposal and it may be reduced from tomorrow. This could be a mistake in the language or the statement. Even today in your homes and your offices, the electricity tariffs have not been increased. There is a proposal to increase it. In 1996, there were significant power cuts and a decision was taken then that electricity would be purchased at whatever price because there would be no power cuts in the country. These are decisions made by the governments, not us. These fuel power plants came from the power committee at the time. It was this power committee that determined that this much electricity would be purchased from such and such plant. The electricity mafia is within the CEB. They submit that electricity is purchased for more and sold for less. That means they give it to us for less. We do not ask them to buy for more. It is the group of officials in this mafia who decide to buy for more. There are ministers in charge of ministries and officials in charge of institutions, but they leave the problems for the president. Now the president won't be able to do the country's work. It is good because he does this work in his capacity, but then we have the question as to why we keep these inefficient ministers and individuals. Why do we retain the officials at these institutions? If there is an electricity mafia in the electricity board, then the government can defeat it in 24 hours. Why do they not defeat it? We think that the is a stakeholder in the mafia. The power minister, the former power minister and Vimal Veeravansa could be stakeholders in this mafia. This is why they are not defeating this mafia. Now they are deceiving us. To save themselves, the president and the government, they are transferring the burden on the mafia that we do not know about. If they can increase the electricity tariff, then we do not need a government in this country. It is cheap for some parties to make a name by saying that the tariffs increase because people on the inside are stealing. If people are saying that there is such theft and that there is no audit, then it is an absolute lie. The Auditor General conducts an audit. There are the AG's reports. When we are taking loans for projects, we must submit the reports. This is an institution that has been operating for 43 years. It is not a game. All forces want to destabilize the country. They want to establish a puppet government in every country that they can control. They are engaged in a major operation. Sometimes they directly or indirectly receive support from certain individuals in the government. Recently, the electricity tariffs were increased. According to this electricity bill, those who consume the most would see a minor increase. Those who consume less are charged more. This was made by P.B. Jayasundara.
The Sri Lanka's Samsamaja Party has called on the government to temporarily halt the electricity tariff hike. A communique bearing the signature of the LSSP's Assistant Secretary Anil De Soisa calls on the government to review the electricity tariff hike and take steps to provide relief to the people.
The Lanka Samsamaja Party says electricity tariffs have been increased to cover losses incurred by the Electricity Board. The LSSP believes that the public consultations by the Public Utilities Commission prior to the tariff hike was a mere act. The LSSP says that corruption, wastage and fraud in the CEB is at an extremely high level and that the party cannot accept the disregard shown towards this and the premise that tariffs were increased to cover losses incurred by increasing fuel prices. The communique further reads that it is no way fair to burden the rural poor who consume less than 60 units of electricity with this tariff hike.
Meanwhile, speaking to News First, Assistant Governor of the Central Bank, CJP Sirivardhana, expressed these views.
The loss of the CEB in 2012 amounted to more than 61 billion rupees in comparison to 19 billion in 2011. So this high increase of losses in CEB mainly due to the high generation cost per unit. That was about 22 rupees in comparison to a sale price of 15 rupees. So each unit making a more than 6 rupees loss to the CEB. So the cost of the CEB basically reflecting the banking system as the CEB filling up their funding requirement from the banking system. So as a result, this high borrowing from the banking system will crowd out the private investment in the economy. So therefore we believe this price adjustment is timely and appropriate for the betterment of the economy. With regard to the increase of the tariff structure, and if you look at the lower income people in the country, and first 30 unit users, the additional cost they have to pay is only 75 rupees and it's a 2 rupee 50 cents per day. This is a very, very marginal increase and we believe this increase will help to smoothen the overall macroeconomic improvement and the long-term stability in the country.
Still in local news, Udayagamanpilla, the Western Province Minister of Agriculture, says it is the responsibility of the opposition in the country to direct the government onto the proper path. He made this statement at an event held in Gangavila, Homagama today.
The Vapmagul festival organized by the Western Province Department of Agriculture was held today in Gangavila, Homagama.
There
are problems with the cost of living. Recently, there was a major increase in electricity tariffs. We made calculations and made an argument as to why the electricity tariff hike was unfair. People do not do wrong because of fear. Therefore, in order for the government not to do wrong, the government must have fear. The government will be careful not to do wrong only if they fear that the opposition might topple them. The country cannot move forward without a strong opposition, but it is the United National Party that does not want to build the party. Like it or not, over 70% of the country is Buddhist. However, the silent majority of 70% in the UNP have no position. Today, no important positions in the party are given to Buddhists. For a while, Karuja Surya, who we all respect, was the deputy leader of the party, but then he was cast aside. Sajit Premadasa, a Sinhala Buddhist leader who constantly confronts us, was appointed deputy leader. Now even he has been cast aside. This is like the Portuguese era. In order to gain positions within the UNP, one must change their religion.
Portuguese යුගයේ වගේ තනතුරු ගන්න නම් ආගම මාරු කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂේ.